So welcome, Vimal, and welcome you all. This is Dipankar Krishnavish, yet another episode of COVID Cares on behalf of Heartcrafted Foundation. This foundation works with women from the underprivileged sections of the society, essentially focus on improving their livelihood through focus interventions in various dimensions. This series is a small way trying to keep for posterity the history of some of the ordinary individuals who did extraordinary work during the COVID times. Now, we are all aware that COVID has been probably the greatest disruptor for us over the last 5, 6 months. We went into a sort of cocoon on 23rd of March when the country went into a lockdown. Initially, we were all panicked. We were thinking where our food will come from, supplies, medical, emergency, support system. Then you woke up to the fact that, uh, the disease is making the healthcare system torturing. Next was the migrant crisis, where thousands of people started walking towards their home, and we came to know there are so many underprivileged people around us whom we don't even take notice of. At the same time, we came to know that there are equal number of people who are holed up in their homes, suffering the same struggle. No money, no food, when the next meal will be coming. Now, why I'm saying this is COVID has been a journey for all of us, including myself, and it has evolved and it has expressed various dimensions over a period of time. So next thing what happened is the fear of job, livelihood. People who are in the unorganized sector, organized sector, people who are in large companies, small companies, they started fearing whether their job will be there, whether the salary will be cut, whether increments will be there, promotions will be there, whether they will survive, whether they'll be taken back. And one of the largest segment to be affected by all of this is the MSME sector, medium, small, and micro enterprises. Now, in India, the curious fact is we have around 8 million enterprises. 1.2 million are registered with the Register of Societies. But there is around 20,000 of them whose turnover is more than 100 crores. And this segment, which is the smaller ones, anything which has probably very nominal revenue and employing 5 people to all the way to 50 to 100 crores, was affected very badly because they are always struggling for fund, working capital. And there had been certain other interventions that happened in the last couple of years, because of which they were already on the tenterhooks. And we started seeing a huge number of struggle there from the market perspective, production perspective, the safety of the individual's perspective, job loss, salary cuts. And even if you go back only today, there was a report saying that, in India, probably 180 million or 150 million people have lost their jobs, of course, across the board. But even among all these, there are a few individuals whom I know who have, in spite of their challenges in the businesses, in spite of, their production stopping, services stopping, in spite of, customers holding back money, customers not giving any new order, of course, in spite of struggle with working capital, ensure that everything which they have to deliver as the proprietors or owners had been done. What are the things? Keeping the employees engaged, keeping the employees involved, ensuring that their jobs are there, ensuring that the salary cuts, if it to happen, it is nominal, ensuring that when they come back, they are in a safe environment, and above all, showing that they belong to a large family. So today we are speaking to one of those who has done something which is very credible, and we are talking to Vimal Sharma. Vimal is a very good friend of mine. We know each other for a long time, but nevertheless, I will briefly introduce him. He is the founding director and chief executive officer of brand Smoor, which is part of the Bliss Chocolates India Private Limited. Vimal is born and brought up in Fiji and Australia, but he has made India his home for last maybe almost a decade now. And he founded this organization here. Before Smoor, Vimal worked in various roles with PepsiCo and Yum restaurants across various countries. I know that he was running one large factory of PepsiCo in Mexico, for example. He had been a very avid footballer and played Melbourne Division 3 clubs. Enough of those stories in some other discussions, maybe. But today, Vimal is coming forward as a person who cares not only for his business, but for the society also. He is a Rotarian for many years and had been active in the local communities in many ways for last many years. Now, let me go back to Vimal. And, Vimal, you know, I sort of explained which all of us have felt, but, everybody reacted to it in various ways. Most of us reacted, including myself, is what will happen to me, right? But you are different because different means you have a business, so you have 400 odd families dependent on you. So I'm sure from the very first day what was playing on your mind is what will happen to them also. But things have been really tough. So what really was the philosophy? I will come to the constraints, which is universal, and obviously there have been some actions taken, but what sort of the philosophy with which you address uh, the issue, because it was very easy, and I'm sure thousands of people also took the easy path of that's why migrants on the road, that your job is gone, you fend for yourself, let me fend for myself. So what was the philosophy which you used when the
Um,
crisis hit you? What are the fundamentals you went back to? I like to hear that.
Thanks, Dipankar. Good to have a chat with you. It's great. Look, I think it wasn't. I guess when this crisis started, I think it started to gain quite a significant attention around March, and all of a sudden, I think it was middle of March. It just kind of came to a halt. And I remember that day very strongly when that happened. Now, we are an organization that has a couple of manufacturing plants, and then also we have our retail outlets. So we had we have a duty of care. We have about 450 employees plus in the organization. Now, when the thing hit us, in the middle, it was a complete shutdown. Now, I guess no one expected this, and even at that time when we went through that shutdown, we thought, okay, it's manageable. It'll probably be for another week, another 10 days. Now, so until that time, we had cash flow, we had liquidity because it was the middle of the month. So we kind of anticipated, budgeted it. Then all of a sudden, I guess, what was the I guess the biggest fear or biggest challenge for us? It was an unknown. It was like a day by day proposition initially. Then I guess when this hit and when we were hoping that things will open up by end of March, but at the same time we were very clear on our approach that let's also try and understand what are the worst case scenarios going to happen. Now, as always, for us, I've always maintained that today what we are is not investors alone. It is the people that work for us. They are one of the most important backbone of our organization, and more and generally speaking, quite a few of them been around for us for more than 5 years plus. Now, as I guess the fortunate part for us was we had a plant that had the capability of producing essential products. So we had a bakery, we had food, etc. So I guess during the lockdown, one of the things I guess as a team, we were one of the things we really were going through at that time. There was a lot of panic. There was a lot of, I guess, people were starting to get scared. So the first thing we had to do was we had to control that. So so what we did was ensure the communication to each and every employee of our organization was going on a daily basis. At the same time, we put up a task force to understand if we had to start again, what were the formalities that had to be completed and who will be undertaking that. So we separated our work into teams and we gave ownership to people. So eventually, one thing was clear, it was the communication. Second, giving, when you're running an organization and 450 people and their family are looking up to you, the best thing you can do first of all is not to panic, and the second time you have to be very much assure them that you are going to be with them. So I think that was the most important thing for us. We were able to give the confidence to the guys that were sitting at home, and we were very clear that no one will go hungry. We are there till this COVID-19 situation is, and we will take care of you. So I guess, and that was something that trust, allowed people and gave them confidence, because for us it was very important to make sure that our employees are taken care of. So so that was the first step we took. Then secondly, I guess when the the rules started to flow through, what can open, what we can't open, and getting the processes right, then what we did was we started to activate. Now I remember very clearly, I think it was first week of April, and this is talking about Bangalore, we were able to activate our essential, which is generally our bakery, which is our manufacturing plant. So we said, let's not rush in. So we started to activate one vertical at a time. So initially we activated the bakery. Now, in order for us to activate the bakery, there was a lot of things that we had to undertake, and it was quite a complex operation. One, to understand a little bit about the virus. Second, the sanitization process, and thirdly, at that time also, there seemed to be a lot of red zones started appearing across. So we had to go back and understand where our employees were living, which cluster they were in, are they in the red zone, then how were they traveling. So we actually went to that extent during that 1.5 months, where we started shifting our employees into closer accommodation, which is like OYO rooms, etc., where we literally brought them there. In a room, we were only having 2 people, etc. In order, because one, we were very clear on the employee safety, and secondly, also when we are producing anything in our manufacturing, it was the duty of care to our customers also. So initially the issue was that the staff did not want to come out of the house. And one thing we did was we said that we will actually only request the people who are ready to come out. We will take them back on board, and then start onboarding them. So then things started to take shape there. Now, prior to doing that, we also ensured that all our employees were, we could, at that time, we took a call. I think we had about 50% of the employees that were, on a medical insurance itself, and then all of them were covered in the medical insurance, but some of the guys were also covered under the private health insurance. So we took a call at that time just to ensure that all our 450 employees and the families are covered for the COVID-19 things, because at that time we realized that the cost of testing, etc., can add a burden to an employee who's on maybe 15,000 rupees, maybe 25,000 rupees. So we initially said, let's target first to ensure that our employee safety is in place. Second, they are covered under the medical insurance. And third, provide a facility where we can give them accommodation in order for them to ensure that when they are traveling from the accommodation to our factories, it's safe. And ensure that once that was in place, then we also got the permit from the required government body, which is the police, in place. So once that started to take shape, then we moved to the next operation. So overall, if you're looking at it, it went from a panic, but the best thing we ever did was when the panic started, we assured our team that we will take care of them. Secondly, then we wanted to open the operations quickly for two reasons, because being in an essential service and then the business moving to an online, and we had some big customers that we had to fulfill the orders. So we started to I guess parallelly work with them to start the supply. So that helped us, because that also eventually helped us with our liquidity. And this was a business for us initially that was not the vertical, which was, it was only probably 30-35% of our vertical. But at that time, we were very certain that this is the vertical for the next 2-3 months that will generate enough liquidity to at least pay and keep the employees going, as well as keeping our expenses going. So in that case, the cookies, the breads, the biscuits, whatever it was, and we started to ramp up production. So so initially I think we onboarded about 30% of our employees. Then the guys, then once that we settled, then we started opening our food business across Bangalore through our kitchens, as well as then starting to shift offline into online. So we had to quickly mobilize our online team, our delivery guys, and then packaging, etc., in order for us to take that vertical. So while all this was going on, and Bangalore started to come back together, then we had another big crisis, which was our Mumbai plant. Now, as you know, and I know, that Mumbai was going through the coronavirus was spreading much faster, and there was a huge, issue there. So actually, that plant for us, I think it shut down in March, and we were only able to mobilize, start operations only 2 months later, because again, we felt it was not safe to open. We wanting to be very certain that if we start operating the plant again, that we are able to do take the employee safety into consideration. And so we did that. So in Mumbai, our manufacturing plant, then again, there was another different scenario. People were coming from different longer distance, and they were living in different suburbs, as you can say. So then and the traveling was quite long, and then near our facility, we did not have any accommodation where we could quickly take and relocate them. So there, what we had to do was, again, work on the passes, and then we had to organize buses. That was, we had to hire buses full time for us, where the buses would be sanitized, and then they'll go pick them up from the home and then bring them. When they were entering our facility, the bus, everything was sanitized. When they entered the facility, when they were leaving, we had to implement, temperature checks. We had to, implement quite a few different safety aspects in terms of hygiene and sanitation of employees, wearing of masks, wearing, clothes and all that were there. So all those things came into play. Now, the best part for us was, and I go back to it, sometimes I think, one of the lessons I've learned from this is that, I saw among our, our core group of guys, they all were, I think maybe, sometimes you underestimate them. and you take, you probably, think that they are not capable. But, during these times, it was amazing to see how they all bonded together, how they were absolutely, coming out and, you know, making sure that, the, things are moving in the right direction. Now, one of the most, this is, I've worked in many countries in my life. One thing India has taught me during this COVID-19, how every person, wants to look out for the other person. Like in what you call it, 450 staff, it's a family for us. And we all, have been together for a while. And now when the crisis hit, and now we were in a situation where obviously the payroll versus the inflow of the money coming in, it was very difficult. It was very difficult. How much can we pay? How much can't we pay? And at one stage, it looked like that we could only pay, 40% of our employees, maybe 60, 70% of the salary because of the inflow. But it was very, very, I guess, it was an eye opener. I would, as a leader, it's very difficult for me to go and tell the employees, okay, this is the rule of the organization. We have to cut 50% salary. Now, I could not sleep overnight. For many days, saying, how can I do this? In the one angle, it's a business aspect, one angle is a human aspect, you know. No fun. The best part was, because I was so hesitant in taking that approach, but I was forced into taking it. The decision was heading towards that. Suddenly, because our communication channels were every day there. In our agenda, we'll talk about, okay, is every employee safe? That was first thing we talked about. Is there anyone who requires any medical assistance? Is there anyone who's struggling with anything? These were the first three items we used to discuss in our community meetings on a daily basis. And I remember, they can, a couple of leaders suggested that, hey, why don't we, instead of all working, so I know I'm required to work for, full month because I'm producing bread. But at the same time, what they did was, between themselves, they shared the workload. They said, okay, I'll work 2 weeks, you work 2 weeks. So it made our life a little bit easier, where we knew that that the entire 400 plus staff were getting some salaries. And then those who were not getting salaries, we ensured that we gave them a minimum salary to survive. So that was roughly for probably about 2 months. Now, happy to say that today, being in a food industry, and I know, a lot of people are struggling. Happy to say that we have currently, now we had 450 staff before COVID-19. Now, happy to say that, we are right now have onboarded 380 staff already, who are back into, 95% of their salary. So on an average now, what pre-COVID was to now, so close to 380 staff now are earning, 95% of their salary. And the guys that are not on boarded is because, as you mentioned, they were feeling that wanted to go back home. So they are literally right now stuck back home. And then we are expecting them to join us very soon. So I'm pretty confident comes October, November this year, that we will have our full strength back, and then we will be back to paying them the full salaries. So, in a nutshell, that's, how we operated. Now, while we were doing this also, we had, we were surrounded where our manufacturing units are. We were surrounded by a lot of people that who would have lost their jobs, or they were struggling because they were daily wage earners. So we also ensured that we, since we were producing the breads, we were producing cookies and food. So we ensured that we, whatever we could do, we would supply to them also until such time that they were, they were comfortable and they were able to not require. So we undertook that project also. So our aim was very simple, to ensure we restart, ensure that we somehow get our team to start earning a salary, because ultimately that is what they all work towards. So that's how we did it, Dipankar. So
No, very, very nice. I, of course, was aware that, that you have taken that insurance, which was obviously, is a great thing because everybody was so worried, that time. Now at least tests are available. Those early days, people are talking of 10,000, 12,000 for test, and then every day, we were having such scary numbers, which was reality actually. It's not rumor. But I am very impressed and pleasantly surprised to know that almost, I think you are almost 85% of your employees are back and almost, back to their salary, which is pretty quick because unlock is still not there, right? So good. I think it helped your good management as well as your brand also helped. You have loyal customers. Uh,
very much.
yeah. So I just had one question that you of course mentioned that you did all that for employees, providing bus accommodation, taking them out of red zone and all of it. But I am personally aware that you also invented some or innovated with some unique packaging and also that the customers, end customers also are both safe and comfortable, like small sachet of sanitize and all. So these are all internal brainstorming and all, or how did it
Yeah.
happen?
So literally, when we were, see, when we working, so our marketing and our R&D guys were also quite the best. I think for us, when we took into account the safety and things, how we are treating our employees, and then production wise, so we were also mindful, because as you right, I think it's a good question. Now, when we first started, our priority was more supplying it to a business to business. So be our, we have a customer, self-esteem customer, which is Big Basket, and then we have Nature's Basket, etc. So B2B was very easy. Now, when we started turning on our own branded locations with our kitchen and food, now, as you rightly pointed out, that you know the lounges and all that were shut. So now, in order for us to open first, we had to make sure with the fumigation, sanitization, and the staff were very, clear that if they're working, they can only work in that location, and they cannot, there was social distancing maintained, temperature checks were done. So when we first activated that, so during that time, we also realized that this product will be going into the customers, and which will be more on a online platform or delivery platform. Now, so so keeping the safety aspect into account, we felt there was three things that you put yourself in a shoes of a customer. So if I'm at home and during that time, now, if I'm ordering something from a online player, or let's say food, what are the three or four things that you are, I guess, always even in the back mind? One, you obviously want to only order through a trusted brand that is your favorite, or that's something you feel safe about, that you feel good about. Now, the second thing is you also want to know that how they are going to make the product, and the third is how they're going to do the delivery. So for us, the first part was taken care, being a trusted brand, and because we have been for the last 9, 10 years, and people have always, trusted us on our safety, food safety standards, hygiene, sanitation. So the fact was, how do we let the customers know that we have undergone these things? So of course, social media played a big role. So it was great because these days you have technology. So, at that time when our marketing guys are sitting at home working, and your chefs are only working from your kitchens and all that. So having a technology around, so they were able to quickly take the video and say, look, this is what we have done. So there was a lot of discussions, survey audits happening through videos, live calls, etc. So we said, okay, we can put something together and go out on the social media and send a message out. Look, we are open and these are the things we've done. Now then at that time, we knew that we will be tagging along either aggregators or our delivery guys. So what happened? So we immediately understood one thing, that anything that goes, it should be in a tamper-proof bag. So there should be no one be able to open it. Now, if it's open when a customer received it, he'll clearly know it's open and he should reject it. Now then, the fear at that time was, okay, should we, what is the next step? So what we did was, at that time, we undertook with all our delivery guys a training program, whereby obviously when they entered, we ensured that their temperature was taken, they were wearing gloves, and then when they were delivering in a tamper-proof bag. And then we also thought of it again. Hang on a minute. If once the customer receives it, he might feel not confident touching the bag. So we then developed a sachet for sanitizer where they can open it, put the sanitizer, and then open the bag, and then consume the product. So so these were the learnings initially from our quality team and from our live experience with how putting yourself in the shoes. So it was very important for us. So we developed that. Now, not only we developed that, we've also then used when the packaging was handed over to the delivery guys, we call it, we have ultraviolet boxes. So the packaging goes in a box in the store, where the ultraviolet light is sprayed for probably about 30 seconds to a minute, and then after that is given to the delivery guy. So yeah, so these are small things we did, and then I guess it was just to give a comfort to the customers that we are in a crisis time and safety is paramount, and for us having that clear from day one, from the time the COVID-19 started, to having that safety is the most important thing, that became our DNA. Now that again then has led to that. I mean, I'll give you a classic example today when I was, entering the office. So when you enter the office where security has a nice shield, they put, they give you sanitizer, then they will, check your temperature, and then they'll ask you a couple of questions. And then, we also have this oximeter where we check the, what we call it, the oxygen
level.
So funny thing was, so when I was going through it, and then obviously I put a little bit extra of sanitizer. It is a fantastic thing to understand how much of the knowledge we have all gained from a security person to I guess you can say it from a blue collar daily wage workers. The amount of knowledge everyone is phenomenal. So when I put it in, and initially, it's in my oxygen, the oxygen is 92%. Now, I'm standing there thinking, oh, okay. And he's reminding me saying, no, it's not 92%. 92 is not allowed. I said, really? What is it? He said, no. Then obviously he never let me inside. Then we checked again, and it was obviously because of my hand, had, so I needed a little bit of, so then obviously it was 98%. So there was some issue with the oximeter, and then he rectified it. But the good thing was he did not let me in. So I was quite impressed that, and then as I've seen it, as the COVID-19 has, I think initially started, but now when you look at it, I see there's some very, I guess, knowledgeable, people have gained a lot more knowledge, and people are also ensuring that the safety precautions are taken care of. So which is phenomenal. The frontline guys are very strict. Then they having the knowledge. So for us, all those things had to be put in place. And then I also, when the restaurant started opening for takeaway, now initially there was a chaos. There's chaos in men's. People didn't know. People were not coming with the mask, when they were walking in. So we were actually physically giving them a mask, we're saying we were not letting them enter until they had a mask. So initially it was troublesome, but as this thing has progressed, things became easier. But it was quite challenging. Initially.
No, yes, yes. I think in spite of a lot of sometimes contradictory communication that mask not required and all, but I see that 90 upwards of 95% are compliant. So Vimal, there are very good point, which I also strongly believe that safety has two parts. One is of course the measures, and the other is the physical action, right? That visible things, right? You put a sachet, it is obviously cleaning the hand as well as giving a confidence, right? The same way your security is saying don't enter, he's giving you a confidence that he is strict with all 450 plus any guest, right? So if he is lax with you, I was very happy to hear that you saying that India is a country where people are reaching out to each other more than any other country. So I'll really be taking it. Maybe you have not faced COVID in other countries. You're also stuck up in this country, unfortunately, because of
No,
COVID. But
but,
I have a,
uh,
yeah.
no, but I think Dipankar, the good thing is, I find people to if you, I guess you are part of that family, you will always go out to help each other, right? So
No,
that
that's
was
true.
very
See,
good.
there is no doubt, because otherwise, how is this country with so much illiteracy, poverty? Still the country is a very nice place to stay, right? We don't feel unnecessarily scared on the road. We don't meet people who are just trying to fleece you. This is a very small, we have a comfortable life. Let's face it. I mean, compared to maybe many developed countries or ultra developed countries, also maybe not so comfortable as many places or most places of India is. But I just have a last question. What had been your experience with the authorities? You had some struggle there, or of course they were struggling themselves, but was it pretty okay, considerate and all that? Because you needed some passes
See,
and
yeah, initially when the lockdown happened, I mean, I don't blame the authorities also. It was quite scary. Now, no doubt, the first few days, until the pass system came into place and etc. We, it was a very scary, thought process, because you were going through a lot of, I guess, security checks. So you'll be one set of people in the security level who you try and convincing and show your IDs and all that, and saying, look, I'm going because we are supplying essential services and I have to be there. Now one will let you go, and the next one you get blocked, and they'll say, no, you go home. So initially it was I think the first 10 days after they decided that, yeah, you can open up certain essentials and all that, it was quite scary, Dipankar, no doubt, because it resorted to some harsh
actions. Yeah,
uh,
people got
action,
beaten up
yeah,
and
with
all of it.
lathi
Yeah, because
charge
I
and
think
all that.
they were also not very clear, what to stop and what
Yeah,
to let
yeah.
go. Yeah, it was
Huh.
very
So and
sudden.
then obviously the communication, right? So there was, I guess, a lot of mixed communication, but credit to the, I think, the Bangalore police, and the way they quickly controlled it and made things. But they were quite supportive, so they understood what was required, and then so as time went on, it became much smoother, and then it clearly showed, during the second lockdown, where everything was, very much on a autopilot. So, credit to them. Now Mumbai also, I mean, I've compared Mumbai, then we got I get Bangalore, and then comparing Mumbai also, I think, I mean, it's very impressive to see how authority, so much data they have, and and when we had to ensure that employees, I guess, we had to get the pass, permit, etc. It was like it was for 40 people's pass, and we had to ensure those 40 people were working, and then it was during that shift. So there was also quite a stringent checks happening around the clock from the authorities to ensure that
Yes,
we are
yes.
following the protocol. So
They're
it was
not
good, and
abusing the system, yeah, or gaming
yeah,
the system. Now,
I
this is
think so.
something
Yeah,
I was very impressed myself, because I am, and yours also possibly, I am in that Telegram group of, where they clarify. There is this government of Karnataka is running, the every inquiry, every query is being answered, and the daily reports which is being brought out by the governments of, they are so sleek, slow, detailed. There's been a massive improvement in the communication for sure.
I think
Um,
so.
so yeah, so I think there is, the greatest takeaway for me from this discussion is that you have your 450 people who are directly employed, and they are obviously in our Indian life, it's not just the immediate family, but a larger family is also in a way sometimes financially, but most of the time emotionally involved with the well-being of individual, right? If the son is working, the parents are happy, and may not be
Correct.
independent, but so that
Mm.
way you have done a wonder. And good to hear that you have also brought back their compensation to a very reasonable level very quickly. And
Yes.
of course, all this your good work and building team, focused team building, and the trust which you have generated from the customers and your partners and employees have helped you. So keep up the good
Mm.
work, and let's all hope that things will slowly become better and better, and we will keep all these good things and will not forget them, and bring out only when there is a COVID, but make it
True, true, true.
part of our
I
life.
think I think it's I
Yeah, I
think
think
it's
so.
it's
I think
our
a
I
lot
think
of
it's our
good will happen. Yeah, so a lot of people will carry forward a lot of good things. There's no doubt. So
uh,
thanks, Vimal.
no doubt.
Thank you so much. I will,
Thanks, Deepak.
yeah, I will be there. I'll stop the recording. I think Jonali will